and welcome to another episode of the Health Habits podcast. It is so lovely to have you back again. So here's the deal. I was uploading new podcast episodes every 2 weeks, every No. That's the new plan. So I was uploading podcast episodes every Sunday. But what I've decided to do just for the time being is start uploading them every 2 weeks, just because that's what I feel is realistic for me at the moment. That's what I feel I'm going to stay consistent with at the moment. And then when I have some more time free up over the next couple of months, I'm going to start doing them weekly again. But for now, they will be every 2 weeks on Sunday. Just before we get into it, can you please do me a massive favour? Can you just press that subscribe button or the follow button, whatever the button is on the platform that you're listening to this on? Give that button a press and you'll never miss a podcast episode from me. You'll have me rambling through your headphones, your AirPods, your speakers, whatever you listen to my podcast on every other Sunday now. And you'll have those value bombs drop in. You'll never miss them again. Give that a press and yeah, it will be good. Last week, I was having a debate or a discussion with my brother around luck and whether luck is a real thing or not. And it just got me thinking about all the ways that people tend to push ownership and responsibility away from themselves, which ultimately negatively impacts their chance of success. And success is defined in so many different ways, and it's very person dependent. So it might be success with weight loss, career success, academic success, to name a few. And it just got me thinking about all the other external factors that people generally tend to blame, such as time, poor genes, and luck is a big one. So at the end of this discussion, we ultimately agreed on certain things, which I'm going to talk through now, but we just had slightly different definitions of luck, which is where the disagreement arose. So I just wanted to kind of clarify my definition of luck. And this is what I've taken off of I believe it's the Cambridge Dictionary website. And this is the definition of luck that resonates most with me. And this is the force that causes things, especially good things, to happen to you by chance and not as a result of your own efforts or abilities. And I wanted to talk to you about in today's episode the ways that people generally do push ownership and responsibility away from themselves and how it does have a negative impact on their chance of succeeding in various aspects of their life. So I don't believe in luck. To me, luck just means random. I believe that everything that has ever happened and will ever happen is caused by a series of events that lead up to that one moment. And there's nothing random about that. And as soon as you take on this way of thinking, you realize that if you want something in life, then you have to be the one to create that series of events that leads to the outcome that you want. So, for example, if you have a weight loss goal that you want to reach, you wouldn't just sit around hoping to get lucky and see if the weight just comes off, right? You'd actively take the steps that would lead to the desired outcome, and that desired outcome is weight loss. And those steps might be tracking your calories, hitting a step target, doing 3 or 4 workouts a week, being more mindful about your food choices. So those are the actions that you would actively take, the series of events that would lead up to the outcome that you want, which is weight loss. I know me saying this probably seems really, really obvious, but here's the thing. So many people will push ownership and responsibility away from themselves. And what they'll do is they'll either wait to see if they get what they want through quote unquote good luck, or they'll blame the circumstance that they're in on bad luck and accept that they'll never get to where they want to be because of that bad luck. So let me just give you a couple of examples to show you how that kind of plays out in real life. So example one, and this is more of a business related example, might be somebody not doing any market research before launching a new business and thinking, maybe I'll get lucky and people will buy this. So rather than taking ownership and recognizing that luck doesn't play a part in this, and actually research is needed to see what the consumers want to buy and at which price point. So another example might be having somebody who's born into a not very well off family, and that person saying they have bad luck for being born into that not very well off family, and then just accepting that they'll never have career success like somebody who was quote unquote lucky enough to be born into a wealthy family. Now, this isn't luck, this is privilege. But that circumstance that those two people were in, so the person who circumstantially ended up in the not very well off family and the person who circumstantially ended up in the very wealthy family, those two circumstances of those two people were the outcome of a series of events leading up to it. And look, nobody's saying that the more privileged person isn't likely to have an easier time with their career, but that doesn't mean the less privileged person can't take ownership. It doesn't mean that they can't accept that they may have to work harder to get the same outcome or get a similar outcome, but also recognise that luck isn't really a thing, but taking responsibility over your actions really is a thing that is very, very real. More related to weight loss, a common reason that a lot of people use to push ownership away from themselves is to say, I've got shit genes, so I'll never be able to lose weight. And that's blaming the circumstance. That's blaming the circumstance that they've ended up in, having potentially more disadvantageous genes compared to some other people, and taking that responsibility away from themselves. Like, yes, I'm not arguing with the fact that some people do have certain genes that make them more susceptible to weight gain, and those genes may make it more difficult for them to lose weight and sustain it. But that doesn't mean that they can't do any of those things. That doesn't mean that they can't lose weight and they can't sustain their weight loss long term. Like, nobody's body defies the literal laws of physics, being in a calorie deficit, energy balance. Like, those people with the more disadvantageous genes, they may have to work harder at their weight loss than some other people, which, yeah, it sucks. Nobody's denying that. But if they take ownership and take responsibility, stop blaming the circumstance, and instead take the actions that will push them closer to their goal, there's no reason why they can't get there. And a more personal example of something that I've experienced in my life is that I failed all of my AS levels. So if you're not from the UK, this was how it was like when I was in school. I'm not sure whether it still is. I'm assuming it is, but I know things have changed a lot since I've been in school. But after you'd finished year 11, when you're 16, you'd either go on to college or sixth form to do your AS levels and your A levels. So your AS levels you do in year 12 and your A levels you do in year 13. And the AS levels are kind of like the foundation of the A levels. So I was going through a really, really difficult period of my life throughout year 12, and I failed all of my AS levels. And I was given two choices by my teachers. I could either redo year 12, so I'd be a year behind all of my friends, or I do year 12 and year 13, but in 1 year. Now, I really, really did not want to fall behind all my friends by a year. I just had absolutely no interest in doing that. At the time, I honestly could not think of anything worse than all of my friends going off to uni and I was still stuck in school. I was so looking forward to going to uni. I couldn't wait. And the thought of all my friends going and me having to stay back a year was just my worst nightmare at the time. I could have easily blamed bad luck for putting me in that situation. I could have said I was unlucky for going through what I did during year 12 and for that reason failing my AS levels, and I'll never be able to do it all in 1 year. I could have blamed time and said that I won't have enough time to fit all that work into 1 year. But instead, I accepted the situation for what it was and took ownership. I didn't want to fall a year behind, so I took all the actions I needed to take to complete my AS levels and my A levels in 1 year. And yes, it was bloody hard. I was at a massive disadvantage to all of my friends and everybody else in my year group. And I could have said, bad luck's put me in that situation. I'm at such a massive disadvantage to everyone else. Everyone else is essentially a year ahead of me. There's no way I can do this. But I didn't accept that, and I took the actions that I needed to take. I worked my arse off, and guess what? I came out with an A and 2 Bs. And that is the result of taking action, taking ownership, taking responsibility, rather than fobbing the blame off to some external factor. The running theme here is this: no, you cannot control every situation and every circumstance that you find yourself in, but you can always control how you react to that situation or to that circumstance. You can always control the actions you take. So, for example, if the gym is closed for maintenance, someone who doesn't take responsibility might not do any exercise. I might think, oh, the gym's shut, so I can't do anything now. But somebody who does take responsibility might do a home workout instead. Does it rain a lot where you live? If you live in England as well, then your answer is going to be yes. Well, look, somebody who doesn't take ownership would blame the weather for not being able to do their steps. However, somebody who does take ownership and does take responsibility would spend like 30 quid on one of those mini steppers so they can do their steps indoors when it's raining. What about if your colleagues invite you out for a spontaneous work lunch? Someone who doesn't take ownership would blame that situation, going out for lunch, for not being able to adhere to their nutrition targets that day and will consume well over their calories. But somebody who does take ownership would make mindful food choices so they can stay as close as possible to their nutrition target. If you're going to take one thing from this episode, let it be this: get it into your head that you can always control how you react to situations. Even if you can't control the things that happen to you, the situations that happen to you, the circumstances that you end up in, that is completely irrelevant to how you choose to react in those situations. It's so very easy to start playing the blame game and blame external reasons for why you haven't done X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z being the actions that will bring you closer to your goal. But if you constantly blame external situations, you'll never get to where you want to be. No, you can't always control the circumstances you find yourself in. Like, there will always be people in more privileged situations than you. There will always be people more well off than you. There will always be people in more advantageous situations than you. But that doesn't mean you can't achieve what you want to achieve. Luck isn't a thing. Things don't happen by random. Things happen, situations happen, circumstances happen due to the series of events that have led up to it. Well, you can create that series of events. You can create the series of events that leads to your desired outcome. You just need to take responsibility over your actions. Take that ownership. And that is all for today. I hope this episode gave you a bit of motivation, got you fired up to start taking the actions that you need to be taking to get you to your goal, whether that be weight loss, another health and fitness goal, any other goal in your life. Do me another favour. Share this podcast episode, share it with your friends and family, share it on social media, share it on your Instagram stories and tag me in it, because not only will you be helping me out, and it does help me out massively, but you'll be sharing the value with other people, getting everybody else fired up to achieve their goals too, and we can all win together. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you in a couple of weeks.